Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Chelsea. You know that. I know that. I'm just a lady with a camera, a bulldog, and too many opinions. A bulldog, a camera, and too many opinions? I don't know. Listen, my green screen is still up from recording my podcast last night. We are doing another episode tonight, so I have to keep it up. Don't have to, but I just haven't put it down. And this is more of like an impromptu video because I'm feeling called, you could say, to make a video about these Fundie YouTubers, Paul and Morgan, lovingly known as Porgan. So Paul and Morgan are, I wouldn't even really call them family vloggers, but they're more of just like Christian vloggers, I guess. I don't understand how they even do this full time. They have two young children, like a baby that's hardly even a year and a half, and then another kid that's like, what, 4 or 5? And I really want to say just like make rage bait content, but it doesn't even get the views that would make like being a rage baiter worth it, personally, in my opinion. And I just think it's super crazy. However, they just posted a video titled, I need to repent, or like, we need to repent, or something like that. The video basically starts out, it's like a week-long vlog or something, but the video starts out and they're all doing a like pickleball tournament, and they're like in pairs, whatever. And the reason why they're doing this is because Paul, I don't know if y'all have seen this on the Reddits, but Paul is, I think it's safe to say he's having a quarter life crisis or something, because he has decided that he is going to attempt to go pro at pickleball. I guess he has like gotten his entire family to play it. Now, don't get me wrong, pickleball is apparently very fun. I personally love tennis, but I don't love the running and like fast movement aspect of it. And I saw a bunch of people playing pickleball the other day, and I was like, they don't be moving. I should do that. And there's actually a court. Clearly haven't played it. Like an organization we're going to join is like building some courts. So maybe I'll start this year. Who knows? And I bet I'll be better than Paul. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it seems like just like a trendy thing, just how like poke bowls and mustaches and overnight oats, Pure Bar, like, you know, things have their like trends, you know. Pilates is something right now that like everyone wants to do. Remember when frozen yogurt was all the rage? Yeah, well, it had its time. Now it's done. This video is sponsored by Aura. Hi, friends. We know that I've been exposing people in my YouTube videos for like 4 years now. Me personally, this is the only place I want to be exposed. In the comfort of my own bathroom, maybe in a bubble bath, maybe with a glass of wine, maybe eating a bowl of spaghetti in the bath. You're not the boss of me. Somewhere I don't want to be exposed is on the internet. One of the things that makes me the most frustrated about TikTok is the harvesting of that data. Why are they harvesting all the data? What is this, Animal Crossing? Do they do harvesting in Animal Crossing? I don't know. I don't play that game. I should. And here's the thing. If you and I were complete pieces of garbage, we could go to a data broker's website right now and buy anyone's information and data just for a few bucks. It's completely legal, which is wild. But as we know, with a lot of things on my channel, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. Big companies with poor security are getting hacked every single day, and your information is being sold on the dark web, so spammers and scammers and identity thieves doing the thievery can target you. And do they face any repercussions? No, of course not. No, they don't. And that's wild, right? That's pretty hypocritical, because if the government can just ban TikTok because they don't want the Chinese to have our data, which, like, why are they letting other websites and other platforms take our data? They don't care about us. They just don't want them to have it. I could literally go on about this for years, but I'm in a bathtub right now, so I won't. And I want you to get back to this video. But I also want to finish telling you about Aura. Aura also has VPN services. They have over 100 different locations you can choose from. They have identity theft protection. They have opt-out features. They always let me know when there's been suspicious activity on any of my accounts, or when something that I've been signed up for has had a breach, and I can do it for my whole household. So go ahead and go to aura.com/CCSUAREZ to get your 2-week free trial and take advantage of that. Protect yourself, since, you know, the government doesn't care about your data being sold to other people and platforms, but apparently they don't want you to go look at some spicy sites. Crazy. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video. Thank you to you guys for supporting my sponsors. I'm gonna get a bowl of pasta and finish this bubble bath while you continue to watch the video. Again, that is aura.com/CCSUAREZ for your 2-week free trial. So it's just really interesting that people not only are like doing this as like a hobby or like doing it with your friends after work. Listen, I love that. But that Paul is someone who's like, I'm going to do it professionally. And it's like, is there like a professional league? I don't think so. That's weird. So he goes on to then talk about how there's like basically saying like he's not getting as good at it as like he wanted to, as fast as he wanted to. And it's like, sir, maybe it's not in the cards. Okay. Maybe it's not on the court. Maybe the professional pickleballer is not in the room with us right now.
Keeping it real talk. I'm about a week and a half shy of the 5-month mark from when I started training very intensely in the pursuit of going pro, playing at the highest level. And I think I'm seeing still a bigger gap between myself and these highest level players, a bigger gap than I anticipated at this time. And, you know, a lot of it going into it was guessing. And there was, I guess, some educated guessing, but, you know, how fast would I climb and how big a gap was there? And there still is a gap, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that wasn't a little discouraging. And now I'm about to go play this tournament, again, at this 5-0 open level. Maybe it was naive. Probably was. And I guess a lot of people embark on something big with some naivety, and that's not always a bad thing, or else who would ever embark on a journey of greatness in anything? Because it's going to be difficult. And I suppose it's probably going to take more time than most of us anticipate. So in some respects, it does feel a little bit like a crossroads of like, okay, Paul, you said 6 months of really hard training, and you hope to be kind of breaking in, finding some traction, some success at this higher level, and you're not quite there. So what needs to be done? Where do I go from here? And so I'm figuring that out with my wife, Morgie, and just looking at life and finances and time frames. I'm not throwing in the towel, but I am having to do some reassessing, I think. I'm seeing good things happen. I'm seeing improvement from my...
Listen, I did chuckle at that and roll my eyes because I was just like, this is ridiculous. Now, if you have not had kids and have not raised a toddler, I don't know if you know this, but it's not for the weak, okay? Listen. There are some moms who don't become a bit more like feral and primal when they have a kid. But I really do feel like having a toddler does make you more feral and primal. And being a mom, obviously being a parent in general, of course, but being a mom is hard. But parenting is only hard for parents who want to be good parents. If you're not a good parent, you don't care if you're being a good parent, right? And that invisible load or that household load is really, really difficult, even if you are a stay-at-home mom and you're, not working. The thing is, though, is that Morgan, with her 2 young children, she is working because they're full-time content creators, doing their videos with how often they post, their Patreon as well that they have. Like, they put out a fair amount of content and could be considered, I guess, like a part-time job in terms of hours, right? I don't know about in terms of pay, but in terms of hours. And so when I see videos of the very just jarring differences on each of their social medias of one morning, her at home with both the kids, no offense to her, but looking like she's over it and just really just like, ugh, opposed to him being out playing pickleball for multiple hours, multiple times a week. Like, that is ridiculous. This is a hobby that you have, and you have 2 young children and then a job on top of that. That's ridiculous. So yes, this video is more of like just me ranting, but holy crap, this mother needs some support. And you know what? She needs it from her partner. And that's not just him looking at her and being like, oh, I'm praying for you. It's like, no, sir, at least take the older kid with you when you're going to play pickleball, or do something to contribute to being a parent and taking that load. Like, do the equal work here. And when I talk about the invisible load or the household load, there's a great Instagram page that talks a lot about it. It's called Momwell. And here's actually a great article about it too. So this article is from Momwell, and it says, carrying the mental load, how to distribute the burden and give moms more freedom. It says the mental load of motherhood is a common vicious cycle for families. One parent, often the mom, becomes the default parent, or primary parent as we call it in my household. The default parent takes on a disproportionate amount of labor in the home. They find themselves drowning in unpaid and unappreciated labor. The resentment and overwhelming load lead to mom rage, resentment, and even marital problems. New York Times bestselling author Eve Rodsky sheds light on why this happens and the systems she created to put an end to the cycle and redistribute the invisible work for moms. For instance, I'm probably being a little bit too honest here, but as new parents, I mean, it is pretty, and people who were like pretty selfish with their time before having kids, pretty jarring, especially for, I think for at least for my husband, but for men in our society, I think too. Especially when you do marry and have, or not even just marry, but especially when you have a kid with someone who is very strong-willed and one of their toxic traits is not asking for help. That's one of the last things I will ever do. And I'm definitely guilty of it's just easier if I do it myself, but then I end up getting, upset, and it's just like, you do this. Like, why am I doing this? You do this. Like, I would like for you to know what time bath time is. I would like for me to say, hey, go get this specific thing out of his room, and you know exactly where it is. But again, and it's probably, again, me giving too much information, but I'm the person who doesn't like let that happen because I'm just like, it's easier if I do it. So the reason why I'm bringing up the mental load with moms, and especially with, younger moms as well, is because we have been programmed societally and culturally to think that this is the norm. For instance, whenever you hear, my God, like we talked about on our podcast this past week, solo dad on TikTok, he's literally just parenting, and he does have a wife and their mom is alive and well and does equal, if not more work with the kids. And there are people in the comment section just being like, oh my God, you're such an amazing dad. And it's like, why? Because he's parenting his kid. Like, that's not being an amazing dad. That's parenting your kid. That's doing your job as a parent. And he's also exploiting his children. So no, he's not being an amazing dad. So frustrating. But again, culturally and societally, even though, a husband, a spouse, the dad works, and so does the mom. I mean, it's very rare for you to see a dad to stop working and be a stay-at-home dad. Or typically you'll be seeing, the mom take the kid to school, or helping with projects, making dinner, doing bedtime routine, knowing when everything is, reading parenting books, and being the default parent. And it just adds so much more to the never-ending stress and load. And I also do think that not only societally and culturally in general, that we are taught to believe that, but then also with these fundamentalist beliefs as well. And they can say all day long that they are not fundies, they're not fundamentalist Christians, but everything I've seen from them is really just reiterating that and leading me to believe that this, he's the head of the household and she's the one who's, taking care of the babies and staying home. But it's like, okay, well, you're both doing, I'm assuming, equal amount of work with being influencers. So why is she the only one with 2 jobs then? That makes no sense. It's so frustrating. So when I watched this video of Paul and Morgan that they put out, and, after they got home from their tournament, they drove home and they sat down, and you could just tell that she did not want to talk about it, and she didn't want to do this on camera and, kind of expose herself like that. I'm going to go over some comments in the comment section though too, because they actually are amazing and super supportive of her. Paul can suck it. He's a turd. And obviously, like, at times she equally is a turd too with some of the stuff that she says. But girl, I cannot imagine having this. And my husband's not perfect. He's not a perfect husband, a perfect dad. I'm not a perfect mom. We do try to be very good parents and good partners to each other and support each other. But this is not that. And if my husband ever acted like this and put playing pickleball and content ahead of me and my needs and the needs of my family and supporting me, I'd crack his skull open with a pickleball paddle. That's a joke. I'm not inciting violence. For legal purposes, that's a joke. Calm down.
We just load up and we head out, and that was it.
Well, and we had kind of contemplated what the best option was going to be. We knew she was probably going to get done around 6 o'clock. And it was like, do we stay another night because it's about a 4.5 hour drive, or do we grab some food and then head back to Lexington?
And I wanted to stay the night.
She wanted to stay the night. I wanted to get back to start our weekly routine, get back for Monday morning stuff, and also not spend money on another night. And I felt like we weren't going to get home super late, so I felt like it was very doable. She, I think, was thinking more about the kids' sleeping schedules, which I understand.
I just had a very, very gut-wrenching feeling that the drive was not going to go well. I knew that Judah specifically probably wasn't going to get amazing naps, which means we would have an overtired baby who doesn't like being in the car in general for long periods of times, and the timing was going to be super weird, and I was correct. I was freaking right. So the first hour...
Well, and I was
optimistic. I knew there was potential for that. And to me, I kind of weighed things. It was going to cost, again, more to stay another night. It was also unloading our stuff all in a hotel. It was just, I weighed things out. I decided let's get home. We'll get home at a decent time. And hopefully the kids will sleep. And that did not end up being the case, particularly for Judah.
Luca fell asleep at 9:30. Judah fell asleep at 10:10. So literally for 4 hours, Judah.
Hey, you're all about the details,
screamed
though.
and cried. No, it's
No,
part of the story.
Well, yeah, no, right.
And it's why it was a ride from hell.
You're all about the details. So I was going to say, as soon as we left the pickleball place, we ran to get food and then get on the road. We go to Freddy's Burgers. Morgan was in the mood for Freddy's Burgers. We sit there in the line
for probably 35 minutes, like literally terrible. And we're trapped, like we can't get out. It's like there's like a literal hill that we cannot drive our car over.
So we're sitting there, and then that's when like the kids start crying. And then we get up there, and he's like, "Hey, the fryers were packed inside, so it's going to be even longer." And we're just like, this is the beginning of our hopefully good road trip home. And it was even in that moment, I just felt like there was, I don't want to like over spiritualize it, but just this spiritual heaviness of kind of like, all right, here we go. We can kind of choose mentally and spiritually and emotionally how we're going to react, because it's probably going to be a rough trip home. Like I just was feeling that. I don't know, were you feeling that, or were you just kind of like already, was your mood just tanking?
I was already ticked off.
Yeah. And again, you're coming straight from losing your final game. You had no time to process it. It was unfortunate. So then we're sitting there for a long time, wanting to be on the road to get home at a good time, knowing that there was some snow that was coming, that we were trying to like, okay, we'll have to probably drive through a little bit of snow coming down, whatever. So then we get on the road, and Judah was, in my mind, I'm thinking he's gonna wear himself out, probably cry some, and then go down. It was
horrible.
And I get it, what you're saying of like something about when a baby starts not just crying, but like scream crying. There's certain times when that's just, as a parent, really, really difficult to just on our emotions.
It's like a physical pain for me when I hear my children cry. And like my brain is like, the neurons in my brain are just going fireworks insane. And I can't think or process or do anything. I cannot breathe.
Yeah. And also in your mind, I just know now how it all works. You're thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about how this is not just messing up right here and right now, but the sleep schedules. You're very invested in their sleep schedules. It was just horrible. Like it was probably the worst car ride of my life. And I just could tell from you, and it was a test in many respects. But I could just sense it. You were not hiding your mental and emotional state. You were having a terrible, terrible time. And I was praying for you under my breath. I was praying. I was thinking about where Paul said that in this region of Asia, the trials and persecutions were so horrible that we despaired of life itself. We came totally to the end. And that's where I felt like Morgan was. God gave me, I think, just more grace to endure. But for Morgan, I felt like that was where she was. And so I was praying like, Lord.
It sounds so stupid and dramatic.
You kind of had to have been there. But it really was like that. And I was praying like, but for the Apostle Paul, he said, the Lord allowed us to go through that to teach us that his grace is sufficient. His power is made perfect in weakness. So I was praying, Lord, if you're not going to if your grace isn't going to come down and cause Judah to stop scream crying, then just give Morgan in particular and I grace to endure it. I don't know that he necessarily, I don't know that Morgan received that grace, but we made it home. And now we're here sitting here talking to you guys at 11 p.m. And there were little graces throughout the trip. If you look back and you really, really pay attention to it and look for them and receive them. But man, just buying, like, as a whole, the car ride was horrible, particularly for you, but for both of us.
So they're describing what their ride home was like. So basically they're saying, she wanted to stay one more night so they could be on like the right sleep schedule. Sleep schedules are so freaking important. And I completely understand that. I am crazy with my kids' sleep schedule because I know, as many other moms know, if you skip a nap or you're, getting off on your routine too much, then it's going to absolutely suck for you in that moment and probably the next day too. And it is so obnoxious. Getting thrown off your routine is, especially when you can prevent it, it's the worst. So she had said that she wanted to stay another night to try to, get back on routine a little bit or not veer off of it too much. And then he was like, well, let's just get food and then go home. So you're going to have your kid in the car for another 4 hours. And what do you know? It didn't go well. So it really to me seemed like a big, I told you so moment, and maybe him not realizing oh, they're going to be screaming in the car the whole time. And this is going to mess up the schedule. And therefore it's going to mess up her schedule too. And I'm not supporting my wife in this moment. No. What did he say? Oh, I was just really praying for you. How about instead of praying that you both are able to have grace in this situation, how about you pray that God shows you how to, protect your wife, but her emotions and her mental load as well. How about that? Instead of just I was really praying that you would, figure out how to deal with it. Paul, you have a very punchable face. One thing that Morgan says is that when your kid is screaming, and she said both of them were screaming in the back of the car, which, oh my God, nightmare fuel. But she was saying that when they're screaming, like it's annoying for you, but like for me, it's like biological and it like makes me want, like it's primal, you know? And a lot of women experience this, not everyone, but a lot of them do. I do and did as well. It's just like triggers something in you where it's like you're ready to fight somebody. Like, or like cry or break down, and it like physically hurts you to hear them like screaming and crying, and like you're driving, so like you can't get up out of your seat and like comfort them. I mean, what are you gonna do, take them out of their car seat? No, you can't do that. Obviously, yeah, you can like hop to the back seat and like hold them and like try to comfort them as much as you can while keeping them safe and like rear facing. But I've been there. It sucks, and you just want to get the car right over. But also, hey, that was preventable. And he was saying that he didn't want to, spend the money on like another night there. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, why'd your entire family have to come? Like, do you know that makes that event not fun for your wife? That's another thing that I was thinking of. I was like, why were your kids there? And there have been so many times where like my husband's like, oh, well, this couple wants us to go do this with them. And I'm like, okay, are you securing childcare? Like, and he's like, oh no, like very naively. And he admitted it later on, but he was like, oh no, we could just like bring him with us. I'm like, no, I'm not going to have fun then. Like, no offense to this kid, love him so much. But if I'm trying to like relax and have fun, I can't do that with my kid right there, with my 1.5-year-old. At this point, he was 1 year old. And I was like, no, I'm not going to have fun. Like, what? Going to like a mini golfing, like drinking place? No, I'm not going to have fun carting him around, carrying him around. He's going to be uncomfortable. He's going to be trying to like climb all over everything. Like, I'm not going to have fun doing that. And of course, like, yeah, I do have a lot of fun with him a good amount of the time, but it's when we're doing like kid activities, not like adult activities. What are you doing? I just really think that this man is just so selfish and not understanding like, oh, we need to, have them stay somewhere for the weekend so that we can go do this and then like come back or whatever. But I really, and again, this is all my own opinion and just speculation from like what they have put out there themselves and from what I've seen. But I really feel like this turd of a husband, turd of a father just puts his weird ass pipe dream of being a professional pickleball player ahead of his wife's needs. And it's insane to me. And why am I getting protective of this mom that I don't know? I think it's probably because I feel it. I get it. But thank God I have explained that to my husband, sat him down, and we communicate and I'm able to explain things to him. I don't always explain things the right way, but I also am not sitting here and being like, I have to be so grateful. I have to be so grateful because like I'm not dead and like I have a great husband and like my kids are alive. And it's like, cool, your kids are alive. You're not dead. That's awesome. You can be grateful for your life and, the kid you have or kids you have and all that. Love God, I guess, while still acknowledging that you two need to work on things and that your husband needs to step it up by a lot to support you.
Do you feel like spiritually is it too soon to even try to go there for you?
I just don't really want to be processing this on camera.
Okay.
Knowing that we have a million haters who are going to make stupid videos about this. About us and our marriage and Morgan sitting here all blah, blah, blah.
Well,
it's just a lot.
Yeah, it's hard. Some people are going to watch this and probably not get it. Others, I think, are going to watch it and actually have a ton of empathy. And it sounds cheesy to say like, oh, when you're a parent, you'll get it. But sometimes that just has to be the case. And the testing that some just life scenarios put you in and put you through, the fire, I think there's just kind of no way to go around it. As much as we want God's grace to like pull us out, like you almost have to go through it. And whether you fail the test or you do amazing, like you're going to go through it and you're going to get refined. If you want, we can collect our thoughts and you can end it tomorrow. There's very little that can prepare you for moments like that.
I think I'm just mad at myself for like a lot of reasons. I'm mad at myself for doing this pickleball tournament because it's just like not the time in my life to be doing this pickleball tournament stuff. And so like I made it 10 times harder on me and everyone around us because they all had to watch my kids. And like, why did I do the tournament? Like, what the crap was the point of that? And then I feel like I worked really hard to like play well at the tournament and I just didn't do what I hoped I would do, and it just sucks to lose so much. Like, it just hurts.
Hey, let me ask you this real quick. I appreciate you opening up. Do you feel like there were any moments in the tournament where you were like, wow, like I've actually been playing well and the work I've put in has paid off and I am enjoying it?
Not really. Like, I knew that I was playing well, but it wasn't good enough, and so that's just what sucks. But it's like, of course it wasn't good enough. I can't play every day of my life. Like, I'm a mom of 2 kids. these people that were going up against play so much more than me. So, like, what did I expect? It was just stupid. And so I'm just mad. I'm mad at that. I'm disappointed and ticked off at myself for being so just like down and heavy in the car ride when things were just going insane, and that I couldn't pull it together and have joy in every circumstance. And
Yeah, there was a lot. It wasn't just like, man, our kids are screaming for a car ride. Like, there was a lot more that was in the air and just in the mentally.
It's so hard for me to even like see him just looking at her. And it's like, buddy, you don't get it. You clearly don't get it. Like, it's so frustrating that he does not get this. And she even says in there, she is expressing that she's disappointed in herself because she wanted to play better, but she like doesn't have enough time to practice because she's a mom of 2. He's a dad of 2. Why does he get more time to practice than you do? That's not fair. How about you 2 practice like you alternate every other night, like when your kids are asleep, alternate every other night or every other day. You have like an hour to practice or 2 hours to practice, whatever. And while the other one's watching your kids, or you make like a date day or something where you practice all day together and someone else is watching your kids. Like, it's really not fair that you both don't get that same amount of time. And I understand sometimes it might be unrealistic, but clearly when the other partner is really needing some help mentally and emotionally, like, get it together. And why would you put that online? She clearly stated, like, I don't want to talk about this and I don't want to talk about it online. Stop being a husband and protect your wife. It's insane. Let's go over a few of the comments real quick. So this video so far was posted 2 days ago, only has 11,000 views. How are y'all doing this full time? This is wild to me. So my comment says, Paul, for the love of the God you say you follow, please stop putting content and your pickleball dreams ahead of your wife's needs. Holy man, get it together. Morgan, yes, you all have a lot of people who criticize your actions, but those same people, most of them, want the best for you and want you to feel supported, especially as a mom. If you aren't feeling supported as a mom, which is what it sounds like, your partner needs to step up and help you. And listen, it can be a very hard shift from going from not having kids to having kids. He has 2 now. He needs to do better and needs to support his wife because, dear God, the mom rage, the postpartum rage, like I can see it. I'm not saying she's going to hurt herself or him or anyone. That's not how that works. And if you don't get it, then don't comment on it. But like, holy crap. Another person said, being a mom while my husband goes off playing pickleball would be really hard. Maybe help her. You see her struggling, man. Be the man God tells you to be and help her. Good Lord. I've been subscribed to your channel for years now, and I'm not a hater, but I will tell you the truth. I'm a Christian as well, and I'm going to say this lovingly and respectfully as I can. Morgan, I see your heart through these videos. You're such a great mom. I don't think anyone would have a great time listening to their kids scream and cry. Yeah, no, it sucks. It's horrible and feeling helpless, and I've endured this, blah, blah, blah. A camera shouldn't be shoved in your face. Like, people just keep going on and on and on and saying like, hey, I'm not a hater. I like your content and I've like loved your content, like supported you, and this is not okay. Like, what is wrong with this man? And so many other people are like, Morgan, you are not falling from grace. Like, you are a mom. He's not supporting you. Like, what the So this one was good, and it said, all you had to do, Paul, was apologize for not listening to Morgan's God-given motherly wisdom and the follow-on impact that the car ride had on her. And that is, oh, I love that. Yes. It says, I used to financially support your channel every month, not to count super chats, which that adds up. I have appreciated a lot of the content you have put out and various interactions you have had. I have also defended you when you were unjustly attacked online. And it says, having said all that, Paul, I'm very disappointed in you. As a leader, I think you are being incredibly manipulative to Morgan based upon what you chose to share online with your community to make her have this interaction. It feels very clickbait to me. The last thing you want to do is vlog, especially with your wife. You should not be filming. You should be prioritizing the needs of your family and your wife. Clearly, you are prioritizing content over protecting your wife and family. You are absolutely putting Morgan on the spot by doing this. And then this person said, Morgan is the primary caregiver for your boys. Your optimism should never outweigh what she knows about what is best for your kids. Baby sleep is important. If someone asked you to hop on a work call and go grab groceries at 3 a.m., you would not feel great then or the next day. I loved this one as well. It says, don't worry, everyone. I asked my mommy and daddy if it was okay, and they said yes. So it's all good, and I don't have to take responsibility for my actions. Actually, Paul, Love that. And then it says, I don't think Morgan failed to give grace. Morgan responded to her baby's crying in the way God designed a mother to physically and emotionally respond. Instead of focusing on pickleball, maybe Paul should care and focus on his wife and children. He's so self-focused and unfazed by anything that doesn't affect his wants, needs, and plans, etc. Priorities are completely messed up. Put down the camera. There are people on here who are saying that they have been followers of them for so long and are asking and pleading with them to go back and watch the video on their own time carefully and with an open heart, and like literally begging them to observe themselves as objectively as possible. It's absolutely wild. And this one as well, kind of like what I was saying, it says, I understand wanting to be grateful, and gratitude is always a wonderful thing. Bottling everything up and telling yourself you can't get mad is not. God's a big boy. He can handle your negative emotions. And it's just so, so true. Hey, Paul, have you ever been a real man who supports his wife and helps her with your kids? And then this one says, Morgan, you are allowed to express frustration and disappointment. Don't let that man make you feel like you're losing the gratitude Olympics for being a real person. And I think especially with how she has been so open about her postpartum depression and postpartum rage and all that, and postpartum anxiety, and him having heard all of that. And we know he heard it because he was there when she said it on the internet. Maybe he wasn't listening, but it's just so sad. And it really does seem like she does not feel supported, and not even that she doesn't feel supported. It's that she isn't being supported. And it's upsetting. And I just wish the best for her. One girlfriend, one mom to another, one working primary parent to another. It's tough. And it's even more tough when your partner isn't pulling their own weight. Now, here are some little snippets from the MomWell page on Instagram. I'll have it linked below. And it says, things nobody prepares moms for: perfectionism, social media comparison, never-ending mom guilt, childhood wounds resurfacing, anxiety and the research rabbit hole. Ooh, that's one that gets me. How difficult breaking cycles truly is. The loneliness and isolation. That one is big too. The weight of the invisible load, mom rage, irritability, self-doubt, and difficulty making decisions. Like I said, I will have a bunch of, or at least try to remember to have a bunch of resources and articles linked down below regarding the invisible load and the mental load, the household load rather. I know I keep saying load. I'm so sorry. It's gross. But I think it's just super important, having to remember all these dates and, things you have to do with your kids, for your kids. So not only that, for the household too, becomes a lot. And it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and very irritable and all that. And that doesn't mean that you're not a good mom. It doesn't mean that you're not a good partner. It doesn't mean that you're not grateful. It means that you're not, getting the support where you need it. And is it necessarily your spouse's fault? Not always. In this case, I do think it is, but it's really hard. So support your partner, ask for help, and know that your feelings are valid and you are valuable as a parent. Even if you're not a parent, you're valuable. And Morgan is too. And I think that she is a good mom, and I think that she needs a better partner. So that's actually it for this video. I hated it. If you are not feeling supported, please look for some resources. I'll have some linked down below if I remember. If I don't remember, comment and tell me. Please reach out to someone for help. Please talk to your partner in a loving way, because a lot of times it can feel like an attack of like, you're not doing enough. But maybe share some like reels and resources with them about like the mental load that like moms or the primary parent takes on, so they'll understand it more. And just ask for help, please. And I know it's like, oh, I shouldn't have to. It's like, some people are dumb and they don't know, okay? Some people are dumb, and that's okay. Or ignorant, rather, not dumb. Okay, if you're subscribed, your butt looks good. If you are not subscribed, you are dead to me and you have a flat. But hey, all you have to do is subscribe, and those cheeks will be extra cheeked up on a Friday. Anyways, appreciate you. Love you. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.